Advisor Stephen Miller recently made headlines with his comprehensive analysis of how illegal immigration has affected virtually every aspect of American life. Speaking on national television, Miller presented a compelling case that many of the challenges facing ordinary Americans today can be traced directly to immigration policy decisions made over the past several years. His remarks have reignited a national conversation about border security, illegal immigration, and the true cost of failed enforcement policies. Miller's central argument is straightforward yet profound. He contends that if you remove the impact of illegal immigration from critical areas like education, healthcare, public safety, and housing costs, the data tells a dramatically different story about American society. According to Miller, test scores in schools would skyrocket if immigration were factored out of the equation. Healthcare challenges would diminish significantly. Violent crime rates in major cities would drop considerably. These aren't abstract policy debates, Miller argues, but real consequences of deliberate social policy choices that have been made through lax immigration enforcement. The economic implications are staggering. American citizens, particularly those on fixed incomes like Social Security recipients, now find themselves competing with people who receive government benefits without having contributed to the system. The influx of millions of illegal immigrants has driven up costs across the board. Auto insurance premiums have increased. Housing costs, both rental and mortgage payments, have surged to unprecedented levels. Emergency rooms have become overwhelmed with individuals using them as their primary care facilities, driving up healthcare costs for everyone. These are dollars that should be stretching further for American families, but instead must compete with an unprecedented demand on resources. The numbers are difficult to ignore. Estimates suggest that between 10 and 20 million people entered the country illegally during the previous administration. Some analysts put that figure even higher, potentially reaching 50 million when accounting for all categories of illegal residents. Regardless of the exact count, the scale represents a massive influx that has fundamentally altered community dynamics, strained public services, and created economic pressures felt by working families nationwide. What makes this situation particularly frustrating for many Americans is the contrast between how these illegal immigrants are treated versus how American citizens are treated. Reports indicate that some illegal immigrants receive more in monthly food stamp benefits than many seniors receive in Social Security payments after working their entire lives. They gain access to Medicaid and other health care programs. They participate in housing assistance programs. They receive social services of all kinds. Meanwhile, American citizens who have paid into these systems for decades struggle to make ends meet. The philosophical debate about immigration has become muddied over time. America has historically been a nation that welcomed immigrants, but there's a critical distinction that often gets lost in modern discourse. The immigrants who came to America at the turn of the 20th century arrived in a very different context. There was no welfare state. They came because they loved America and wanted to succeed through hard work and opportunity. They came legally, through proper channels, and they assimilated into American culture while maintaining their heritage. Today's situation looks entirely different. The current wave of illegal immigration isn't bringing the best and brightest from around the world. These aren't individuals primarily motivated by opportunity and the American dream. Many are coming specifically to take advantage of the welfare state and government program. This isn't about racism or xenophobia. It's about the practical reality that no country can sustain unlimited immigration without regard for skills, education, or ability to contribute economically. The impact on education provides a clear example. In states with high illegal immigrant populations, schools face enormous challenges. Many students arrive without speaking English. Their parents often lack education themselves and cannot provide the kind of support that helps children succeed academically. Teachers must divide their attention and resources, diluting the quality of education available to American-born, English-speaking students. This isn't fair to anyone involved, least of all the children on both sides who deserve better. Recent revelations have made the situation even more troubling. Evidence has emerged suggesting that the previous administration knowingly pursued policies that would flood the country with illegal immigrants, despite warnings from top advisors that this would create chaos and harm the Democratic Party politically. According to these reports, advisors explicitly told the president that Americans would reject these policies, but he proceeded anyway. Then, administration officials fell in line to promote talking points claiming there was no border crisis, that illegal immigrants weren't receiving extensive government benefits, and that the situation was under control. We now know these assertions were false. Illegal immigrants did infiltrate government benefit programs on a massive scale. They did receive substantial financial assistance. They did gain access to programs meant for American citizens. The border was not secure. The crisis was real and growing worse by the day. The American people were not imagining these problems. They were living them in their communities, seeing the impact on their schools, their hospitals, their neighborhoods, and their wallets. One particularly egregious aspect involves the rushed distribution of Social Security numbers to illegal immigrants. Once someone possesses a Social Security number, it becomes nearly impossible to distinguish between a citizen and a non-citizen in many administrative contexts. This appears to have been intentional, designed to make it difficult to ever reverse the situation or hold people accountable for entering the country illegally. The political motivations behind these policies have become increasingly transparent. When a political party begins losing support among its traditional constituencies, it faces a choice. It can either change its policies to better serve those voters, or it can import new voters who will support its agenda. Evidence suggests the latter strategy has been deliberately pursued. As support has eroded among certain demographic groups who are recognizing that progressive policies haven't delivered on their promises, the solution has been to bring in millions of people from countries where they'll be dependent on government programs and therefore likely to vote for the party that provides those programs. This isn't a new playbook. Historical parallels exist showing how political movements have shifted their focus when previous constituencies become unreliable. The strategy involves creating dependency, then leveraging that dependency for political power. It's a cynical approach that prioritizes party power over national interest, and it's happening in plain sight. The current administration has made reversing these policies a top priority. Enforcement actions have increased dramatically. Immigration and customs enforcement agents are conducting operations in cities across the country, detaining and deporting individuals who are in the country illegally. These operations have been particularly focused in areas with large illegal immigrant populations and where evidence suggests widespread fraud in immigration and benefit programs. The enforcement approach has been methodical and comprehensive. Agents are not simply looking for people who cross the border illegally. They're also investigating visa fraud, improperly granted immigration benefits, and criminal activity within immigrant communities. The goal is to restore integrity to the immigration system